All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. We also have an anti-nepotism policy. I guess we need to approve. Click on that.
Lisa, would you like to give the background as to why this has all of a sudden become a requirement?
Please do.
Sure. In order to apply for New York State grants, we have to submit documentation on a lot of different things too. It's called Grants Gateway. One of the, it's multiple things. We have to do our annual audit. We update it every year. And in the past couple of years, they have asked for an anti-nepotism policy, but it was never mandatory. This year, when I submitted everything, it came back and said that while they will not hold up any grants, they will consider it against us if we do not adopt an anti-nepotism policy. So I figured we better do it quick before we put in any grants. So we did one up quick. I pulled some stuff around and I picked up something from New York City and customized it to us.
And we have to do this for the IDA and the CRC.
We have to do it for all of them.
Okay, great. Any discussion? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll be glad to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's carried. Mike, I think most of the rest is up to you. Staff and review?
Yes. We have had numerous staff meetings and discussions around various staffing positions. As you know, with Erin, we'll be leaving at the end of the month after almost 20 years of service, and it's going to be an incredible transition for us in terms of the depth of her knowledge and experience and work ethic over the years. Kathy Leiden, who joined us in December, has been doing a great job with working with Erin to learn all the accounting functions. Erin and Kathy and Martha and Lauren and Lisa and I have been looking at how what we had discussed with Erin when at one point before she decided to retire was to split out the loan processing and loan support from the basic bookkeeping and accounting. And we've continued to move on that process. UHY undertook a study. They met with each of the impacted staff and came up with a list of things that they had recommended. They are going to work with us in an effort to implement those recommendations. I will get those out to this committee and to the finance committee in advance of the board meeting. Some of those things are a little more long-term, and they involve some new technology, but it's basically to try to cut down on the duplication of paperwork and copying and processing, as well as some other recommendations. What we have done is we have worked over the last couple of weeks to pull out of the work that Kathy and Erin have been doing to identify the loan processing or loan administrative support effort, recognizing too that when Kathy came, her job description was to assist Lisa half-time and Erin half-time at 20 hours a week. We have increased her hours to 30 hours a week, and we're having ongoing discussions as to whether she would like to go full-time. So I think from the accounting standpoint, we do have the idea that without getting into the logistics of the 80 checks a month that come in, we did sort out all of the transactions for the year. We have relatively few deposits and even relatively few checks. About 50 to 60 checks a month at CEDC's level. We have to remember that there's there's five different entities between CEDC, the IDA, CDC, CCRC. We don't do the books for the Hudson IDA, but we do processing for them. And we also, the SBA kind of adds an extra element of reporting and accounting. We do have the down home software. Lauren has been learning that. And when you look, as we go into the strategic plan, which we'll discuss in a moment, we will soon be at $3 million loan fund. And between the SBA grant this year of 180,000 and almost $100,000 of interest, that has become almost 35% of our revenue. And the thought that we also have more than $1 million to put on the street. Now, we've talked about not putting it on the street so fast that we have no money to put out in subsequent years, but when Martha and Lauren and I have looked at this, it's about $350,000 to $400,000 a year to put on the street based on the fact that most of our loans are 5 to 7 years. And we fully expect, in order to keep the $180,000 SBA grant, that we're going to have to do that volume to be able to sustain it at that level, because they award it each year based on the number of loans that you've processed the year before. So when we look at the strategic plan, strengthening the loan underwriting, administrative, and support process, and recognizing that there are certain aspects of that are accounting functions, it seems that we've looked at a lot of job descriptions that we've taken various pieces from to create this new job description for a loan processor administrator. And we're going to be posting that I believe this week. We did review it again yesterday, and I think that we just wanted to have one more discussion internally about it today. So on the project manager side, we have I have it scheduled that we would hire someone by September. That would be combination of Carol's marketing and communication, and also we're getting a tremendous influx of people with new projects. We have the 620 Union Street Hotel. We have the 2 Galvin housing projects. We have a proposed 150 unit workforce housing project in Greenport with Redburn Development. We have the Pocketbook Factory. I just received a call from a gentleman we met with over 2 years ago who was starting a technology company who is now looking for a site in the county. We've had a call yesterday about 1 Hudson Avenue, the old garage door business. And we're also a little bit on the fence in terms of staffing, because we did apply with Pattern for Progress for a $180,000 UDAG grant that was focused on providing more economic development services throughout the towns. So I think that we do have an intern for the summer, Liam Merchant, who's grew up in Chatham, and he's been here 2 weeks and been doing a great job. And I do think that we have worked some of the digital. Lisa and I are still working through this with having outsourced the posting and doing some of the newsletters and digital work, so we can figure out, do we want to do those in-house, or we can get the newsletter done for about $350 a month by just giving the information to someone, and it comes back to us all ready to push the button and send out. And in fact, they send it out. So we're recognizing the reality of the fact that we can't tread water here too long because of not putting the staff back in the position that we were in the height of the pandemic. But I do feel we're moving in a positive direction, in a way that is thoughtful and reflects some of the changes that the organization is going to go through.
Thanks, Mike.
Did anyone on the staff want to add anything to that, or?
Oh, I just want to say, I think that loan processor position is going to be really beneficial. Lauren worked hard on that job description. As Mike said, we're just done with it. We'll do a final review today. Kat's been doing a terrific job. Yeah, so far so good. And I think we are moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the committee members?
Well, I just want to say, I think this is excellent. I'm glad you've taken the time to really sort out, as things change. And I think Carol's leaving precipitated all this, but it's great to really take a holistic look at everything and, not just go back to the same old job descriptions. But I think, Mike, you've really thought this through and to make changes of how to move forward I think this will be a better way.
Well, it's always, as you know, like driving a car with a clutch. And I do wake up at times in the middle of the night. Will the gears click exactly when we need them to? But I know that it's a team effort, and we're all working through that process.
You
I
do
should
know
also-
how to drive a car with a clutch. That's good.
With
I should
respect,
also mention, though, that employers are having great difficulty finding people, and so that will be the next challenge: is finding the right person.
Very true.
moving forward on this same topic, just to review quickly, we are in the process of setting up the annual employee review process, but we are going to implement it in July, so that we're not waiting to December to implement that process in accordance with your recommendations. We do continue to have weekly staff meetings. Yesterday we had today is our normal staff meeting day at 11, but we did have a meeting yesterday in the conference room for the first time, which goes to the chairman's inquiry as to how we can begin to meet in person again, which we can address in a moment. We have continued to, from the beginning, I believe, of my tenure, have employees and staff attend board meetings. And we hope that you're seeing some increased employee participation and presentations at these meetings as we move forward. We have worked with Elena DeFeo Keen on a updated employee manual. Lisa and I have reviewed it, and we will be circulating that and internally, and going back with Elena, and then presenting it to you far enough in advance of the July meeting to have it approved. And as part of the job description development for the accounting side, and then the if you take what Erin and Kat were doing, and you take what Martha, Lauren, and the loan processor are doing, it really at this point only leaves the job description for Lisa and I and the new project manager. And really, if the new project manager can be paid out of the UDAG grant, we'll have additional capacity for staff. And if we don't get the UDAG grant, we'll hire a project manager that meets the needs of the people who are trying to grow and expand their business, the people who are looking for grants, and then the issues that we're working on for the county, which are broadband, housing, and those types of projects. And then, of course, the loan fund. We also are, we've tried to get Elena had suggested that we get the county HR department to come in and do the training. I'm not sure how that's going to work. The annual required training, especially with new employees. But if we can't get that resolved in the next week, my thought was to get one of the HR companies that does it frequently. And it's a couple of $100 to have them come in, and I assume, at this point, they would come in by Zoom. And finally, with respect to the strategic plan, I am planning to have at least a kickoff discussion at the board meeting 2 weeks from yesterday with Mary Ellen O'Loughlin, who was the facilitator for our first and second iterations of this. And I guess, if we go back to the original 4 pillars of entrepreneurship, infrastructure, quality of life and sustainability, and workforce and education, I don't think they have changed, but I do think, what we would like the board to help us do is prioritize those 4 pillars. I think sometimes if you're looking at calling them pillars, I think makes you think they all have to be equal, because if, one isn't as tall as the other, the canopy may fall down. But I do think that the entrepreneurship and innovation, in terms of the loan funds and the technical assistance and some of the other projects that we've worked on, is key. I think attracting and helping businesses expand come under that, but it is different. I mean, to help a business that's been in business for 20 years who wants to put an addition on and buy a new piece of equipment to do something is different than getting a startup company with a micro loan. But I think it does fall in that entrepreneurship innovation category, but it does broaden what's involved there. On infrastructure, it's really been broadband, housing, and shovel-ready sites. And the shovel-ready sites really tie into the fact that water, sewer, gas, electric, and broadband at a single location in the county is really only in 6 places where there's sewer projects. We are looking at how we're working with New Lebanon on a new water and sewer funding program with the state and with some of the federal money. The quality of life, we have gotten dragged into being the solar center it hasn't taken that much time, and it's something that we were asked to do by our $400,000 client. So we asked, when would you like us to meet to discuss the solar projects? And finally, workforce and education. And what we've been coordinating for the last 2.5 months is it was weekly for 5 or 6 weeks, where I brought together the college, Questar 3, and the chamber in both counties, and Greene County Economic Development in partnership with CEDC. So, and the Workforce Investment Board. So there's 7 of us. We've last week we decided to go to every other week so that we could get around the 4th of July week without interrupting anyone who's taking some vacation. And Dr. Drummer has put a proposal together to this group to take over the responsibility of running the Career Institute. She wants to rename it. She wants to double its size. She has, the group has reviewed the concept and the proposal, and she has an $80,000 budget. I think we've discussed that, there are ways we can lead, partner, and participate and support. And I think that by having it done at the college, where it's institutionalized and becomes an initiative and a feeder program. And the key to her is to get the junior leadership students on the campus so they know that there's a college here. And so that even if it's not something that they're looking at, they could talk to their friends about it. So she's revisiting with this group how we would, what would be the target audience. She wants to rename it something. We named it the Junior Leadership Institute because we first partnered with the chamber to do it, and they had a leadership class. But she's got we circulated to the staff a list of, you know, marketing moniker titles for it, and we're working through that. And we're also providing support to the Workforce Board on their job fair. And we will also, you know, we've been contacted again for next year on the Career Jam. But by partnering with 7 different groups, it's not all falling on us. And I think that, you know, as Martha mentioned, the workforce issues right now are more about finding people as much as training and expansion of capacity. I spoke on Friday to 80 the workforce investment boards in the 11 counties. There are 4 of them. Columbia Green is one of them. They have a unique organization where they're not obligated to do this under the federal statute that created them. But the 4 workforce investment boards representing 11 counties in the capital region get together. The directors get together once a month, and they get all of their stakeholder partners together quarterly. And I spoke on the workforce education initiatives and opportunities in Columbia County to 80 people on Friday, and did it by Zoom. We can, you know, get you those remarks. But again, Jeff Friedman from the Greene County Chamber at our last group of 7 meeting said that there's 2,500 jobs that the Labor Department has identified as posted in the 2 counties. And if you go back and look at the unemployment, we're back down to 4.5%. We had been at running basically every month at 3%. We had gone as high as 11.5%. So if you take 1.5% of the 30,000 people in the workforce that the Census Bureau indicates for Columbia County, you know, you're looking at, you know, 1,000 people, you know, 800 to 1,000 people that are still unemployed. And, you know, it's not all people who are just trying to get the extra 300. It's parents who have to do childcare. There's people who are burnt out. There's people who have lost their job because COVID required the employer to change the nature of their job, and either they were no longer needed or they didn't have the skill set to do the job as it was repositioned and restructured. So, you know, I do think that you know, the job fair is we're going to start marketing it now to get employers, and we're going to it's going to be in the last 2 weeks of August, so that people who are coming off the $300, or parents who can see the light that their kids are going to go back into the classroom, you know, well, they won't be waiting till the last minute to see what's out there. But, you know, we had a restaurant owner tell us that he offered someone $35 an hour to be a line cook, and they told him they could get more somewhere else. And people are not showing up for interviews, and you know, it's well, I'm sure Jim and John and Rick, you know, being in private sector businesses or working with private sector business owners, you're painfully aware of this, as well as you, Dave, from the cable company.
Hey, Mike, thank you.
I have a question about this. With our job descriptions, it seems like, you know, Carol was, now you're talking about a project manager as you work on this description, and now with the workforce, it's such a separate entity that I'm wondering, they seem like separate jobs, or you're not always find the same person that's going to be that mix.
Well, I think that, you know, what we had talked about was, you know, there's a marketing component. There's a following up with people who are looking for resources, whether it be with, you know, we're getting an incredible number of people looking for CFA applications right now, which are due on July 30th, but we have that push every year. And, you know, where the pressures that came with Carol's position was trying to do marketing communications and workforce and education. And I think as we, so, you know, she was not, because of the workforce and education over time, there was less and less marketing and communication. So I think if the board decides what role we should play in the strategic planning process and the workforce and education initiatives, you know, much of our marketing is self-promotion. Basically, you know, what did you do to help someone last, and how can you help someone new, as well as the loan program. And I think the conclusion that we've come to in-house, and certainly the other staff should pipe in, that we probably are at a point where it's not a need for a full-time marketing and communication person.
Any more comments, questions? I think that concludes our agenda. Anybody have anything else?
Dave, did you want to talk anything about this new initiative from the governor? Was that something or was it just what Lisa sent out?
With regard to the reopening?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow it intensely. What Lisa sent out was very informative. It would be very nice, I think, to get back to normal as soon as we can, but that involves the doing it safely. So, I mean, right now it looked from that memo that large gatherings are still prohibited, but we don't really know what a large gathering is. Is it 20 people in a conference room? And I think for now we need to play that safe.
Yeah, I think that we certainly could start committee meetings in the conference room here and still have, you know, where people won't feel that there isn't respectful distance, whether it's 6 foot or not. We could also have a board meeting at the college where the room was a little bit bigger. And I think, you know, when you look at that, you know, we are having 12 people today in our conference room from Transco next door. You know, they asked if they could use the room. They are going to wear masks till they get into the room, and they're going to take temperatures, and we're going to get contact tracing, which is all not required today, but yesterday it was. So we're just, you know, being a little bit cautious. I think the building has, you know, removed the restrictions. We will be sending out a Columbia Comeback e-news shortly with you know, the updates from the governor's release yesterday. You know, primarily with limited restrictions on healthcare, prisons, and very large events over 500 people, it's pretty much back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at this at the county too, and I don't know if this decision would come out of this committee, but when I look at our group here, there's several of you that have to travel quite a long distance. I can be at the top of town in 5 minutes, but some of you might have to drive half an hour to get here, and that's taking an extra hour at least out of your day. So I think the great thing about Zoom is that some of these meetings could be easier to continue on Zoom.
Well, certainly, I think some of the loan committee meetings and things that you know are timely, but I also feel that my experience has been that not with this group, but with trying to get people to yes on Zoom is harder than when you're in the room, because the very reason you mentioned, Sarah, we don't want to come back tomorrow to continue the conversation, so you just make a decision.
I would agree. I think there's a certain content that's missing in these Zoom meetings. You know, it's convenient. I'm glad we have them. I don't know what we would have done without them during the pandemic, but I think the in-person meetings are much more productive.
My recommendation, Mr. Chairman, would be to begin committee meetings in July and a full board meeting at the end of the July to the full board, and have a discussion at the June meeting.
Agreed. Okay.
Finally, on the broadband, Andy was away last week. He was going to join us this morning if he got free from another commitment. He reviewed the contract for me yes Monday and Tuesday. I sent it to the consultant last night. I expect it will be signed. The Board of Supervisors approved $30,000 for CEDC last week on Wednesday, without any discussion. We did get a reasonably good article at the time, and we did take another look at what Greene County was doing, but the Greene County proposal is 3 times the price of what we're doing, and based on the input from some of the community leaders who have been part of the broadband county task forces, and based on Dave's input and Bruce's, and we did have a kickoff meeting with the consultant, and I was very pleased we were able to get both Spectrum, Consolidated, Mid-Hudson, and GTEL represented, which has not always been the case. They've often taken the position they didn't want to be on a call with their competitors. And we're very optimistic based on the input from people who seem to know this business that these guys are going to get us the results that we'll need to get to the next step.
Well, the price is nice that it is a lot lower than Greene County's. I think the major component to it, though, is their proposal includes no boots on the ground. It's all done by surveys and phone calls and that sort of thing, where this proposal here involves having a guy in a truck driving around who knows what the utilities on the pole look like and analyzing them and making a report based on that. You get such a mixed results when you ask people if they have broadband. They may have broadband and have an outdated router in their house that they own. And because it doesn't work well, they say they don't have broadband. And that's the kind of survey you get when you do it by mail.
Well, thank you. I have nothing else.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.